This is Spotlight Omaha. Spotlight Omaha is a local podcast that highlights local businesses and influential movers and shakers in the Omaha business community. Spotlight Omaha is brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing. Now, from the Pyramid Contractor Studios, the host of Spotlight Omaha, Jimmy Allen.
Good morning and welcome into the Spotlight Omaha podcast, where we take you around the city of Omaha, introduce you to local business owners, influential figures, and people who are making an impact on our community. We are brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing. If your company is struggling with search engine optimization, or maybe you need an entire team to manage your social media presence, check out pixelfiremarketing.com for more details today. Joining us inside the Pyramid Contractor Studio is Mike Wasley with Bel Air Plaza. Mike, thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Jimmy, thanks for having me.
Tell us who and what Bel Air Plaza is.
Yeah, so Bel Air Plaza is a locally owned shopping center on 120th and West Center Road in Omaha, and we have a nice mix of retail and professional office tenants in there.
When we talk about Bel Air Plaza in that 120th and Center location, Nobby's was kind of synonymous with that area. If anybody was directing you around that area, you'd say you hit the Nobby's, go left, right, straight, whatever. That has been replaced by Prehistoric Putt. How did that come about? How cool is it to have that venue in that building now?
That's right. So Nobby's was a phenomenal tenant for many decades. Very fortunate to have them. Great partners for us in the plaza. And the owners were ready to have a little change of scenery in life and spend more time with the grandkids. So
Sure.
We went shopping for a new tenant, and we're able to work out a deal in conjunction with Nobby's for the new Prehistoric Putt that just took over that location back in 2024.
Can you tell people what Prehistoric Putt is and what exactly that venue looks like now?
Yeah, so another locally owned business, and he's got several putt-putt locations across Omaha and in some other markets to include Lincoln, Des Moines, Kansas City. And it's about a 36,000 square foot building. He's got 4 putt-putt courses inside.
Wow.
An arcade and a full-service kitchen and bar area as well for the parents.
You just mentioned something that just keeps coming up regularly in this room. It's the passing of businesses or people of the previous generation not having somebody to leave the business to, going to spend time with grandkids. When you guys at Bel Air Plaza are working with current tenants or new tenants, and they're thinking about selling the business or moving the business, is that something you guys get involved with, or do you guys tend to keep your hands off of that situation?
Yeah, great question. We are almost always involved in that because as a landlord, you have a right to know and be involved with who's leasing your space and who's in there. Now it's always in our best interest to keep tenants and to keep a business going. So if we can help in a transition from, say, a parent to a child, that's always a positive thing for us.
Speaking of staples of Bel Air Plaza, you guys have the report in that's in there. Best Bloody Mary in town, from my opinion, and get all the fixings that come along with it. But obviously, what comes along with a bar or place that sells alcohol is a liquor license, some restrictions, probably a little bit of red tape. How difficult is it to find a tenant that needs a liquor license or an extra adage like that to their space and help them fill that spot?
You know, it can be difficult. There's a lot of extra government hoops and regulations to contend with when you're dealing with a liquor license and serving to the public. You have the health department involved, state liquor board, all those things. Fortunately, we have been very lucky to have great tenants in that spot, and our current ownership group is amazing. They do a great job keeping everything above board. I've never heard any complaints or them having any issues or getting out of line with anybody in terms of governing authorities. They do a really nice job there. And that's one thing that the Omaha market is in very high demand right now.
I was going to ask about that.
Restaurant spaces, bar spaces, those kind of things where people are going to go out, leave their house, come to your location and sit down, have a drink, have some food. So we need more spaces like that.
Which brings up an interesting dynamic, right? Because I'm sure a lot of questions are about exclusivity and can I be the only fill in the blank here? What is the policy on that? And I'm sure with the space at Bel Air Plaza, it's very difficult to make that accommodation, right?
Yeah. So exclusives are tricky sometimes with landlords because you don't want to tie your hands on what you can or can't lease to in the future. Now, like I kind of mentioned to previously, you're always better off keeping a good tenant happy.
Yeah, for sure.
So let me give you an example across another industry. Salon spaces are very popular.
You guys have a few of them in your plaza.
We've got a few, and we are not the only shopping center in this area. and in the city that is not taking any more salons because of the number that we have.
Sure.
I'm aware of several shopping centers in our corridor here on West Center Road that have their limit of salons and don't want to take more just to keep a good tenant mix.
How many spaces do you guys currently have available at Bel Air Plaza?
Yeah, so we have 5 available right now, and we're going to have a 6th coming online in September of 2025.
We're coming off one of the most unique times in history with the pandemic, right? And we saw, I think corporate real estate probably took the biggest hit in venues like Bel Air Plaza. How were you guys able to navigate those waters of the pandemic? And have you seen steady growth since post-pandemic numbers have come out?
Yeah, so the pandemic was hard on us like it was everybody.
Sure.
And we lost a lot of tenants during that time. And, going back to the mindset of being in 2020 and not knowing the outcome of that, we did everything we could to work with our tenants. Again, being a local landlord and local business owners, that matters a lot to us. So we tried to help and take care of as many people as we could, but we did naturally lose several tenants during that.
What is something that you guys may have taken from that time frame that has helped? Obviously, when you're in it, probably nothing was helping at the time. But is there anything you guys learned about the way you manage your real estate, the way you manage your property that has kind of been portable to 2025 and the way you handle things now?
Well, one of the things that came out of that for us and other commercial real estate firms is very quickly after the pandemic, prospects started asking for clauses in their leases that said, if the local government requires me to shut down, I can void my lease or I can stop paying rent. And again, that's obviously not good for a local landlord because, we're a business as well.
And we can't predict a pandemic. Yeah.
But in the same vein, the human factor behind it is the most important thing is how can you ask someone to pay rent that can't make a living themselves, can't pay their own bills, So we really
and from legal standpoint, can't even open their door, right?
Exactly. How you can't force somebody to be open if the government says we're going to come and arrest you or fine you for being open, right? So that is kind of a no-win situation for everybody. So, but we got lean on our management side. We started cutting every nickel and dime that we could to stretch as far as we could, and we came out of it down a lot of tenants. And to your question a moment ago, from the pandemic to the beginning of this year, January of 2025, we just got back up to our best occupancy we had since 2010.
Wow. Okay.
And that was a great feeling. Now,
because the one spinoff of the pandemic is there was a lot of individual businesses created out of that time span as well. So it's not necessarily like, we saw the loss of a lot of businesses, but there was necessity to create as well.
Sure. And that's something we're seeing right now too. A lot of large retailers have closed, and you're seeing kind of a return to Main Street, getting away from big corporate America. So, that's the great thing about business owners, and especially this community. When there's an opportunity in the market, they'll find it or they'll go create it.
Yeah. And we're catching up with Mike Wasley of Bel Air Plaza on the Spotlight Omaha podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing and Pyramid Contractors. I want to ask about the community for a second. There's been this long debate about what the center of Omaha is. Now, when I was younger, about 120th, the center was about as West-O as it got for a while.
Right.
Now the city expands way past that. It kind of feels like Bel Air Plaza is almost the heart of where Omaha is right now. Is that fair to say?
I think that's very fair to say. Yeah, West Omaha is ever moving and ever expanding.
For sure. Yeah. If and with the sense of community and everything, you guys obviously are involved with the people that directly are tenants of yours, but you guys do a ton of events as well. Two-part question. I'll ask the first part first. Why is it a big deal to bring that sense of community to essentially the heart of Omaha and be able to house events for people to attend to see the Bel Air Plaza space?
Sure. So in our situation here, having a large shopping center, we're in business with all of our tenants. Their success is our success, and their failures are our failures. So us supporting the community helps support their customer base.
And the events that you guys put on, you guys do a bunch of stuff around the holiday season. What are a few of the events that you guys have coming up towards the end of the year?
Yeah, so our longest standing community event is our Santa Claus Christmas special. So the first 2 Saturdays of every December, we host from 11 to 2 Santa Claus, and we always try to have reindeer if they're available.
Sure.
And I think the kids like the reindeer.
I got a connection for you if you need one too. After
that. Hey, appreciate that.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. And
Yeah,
then the other
and
one.
it's a free event to attend, so anybody can come. We also give out cookies and hot cocoa to the kids.
Mhm.
We try to partner with a local law enforcement agency to have some reps there for some FaceTime with the community. And
You
we
ever
try
have
to
to spend
highlight
time
some
in
of
the
our
suit?
business. What's that?
Have you ever had to spend time in the suit, or do you guys outsource that?
No, we outsource that. I'm not quite long enough in the beard yet to play Santa Claus.
Maybe round enough in the tummy.
Yeah,
And you guys have an event coming up at the end of the year, start of January, correct?
we do. So not January, actually this Friday and August 1st, we have a vendor market. So
Okay.
this is the first year we've ever done a vendor market. We had our first one back in June, and it was very successful. And it ties in perfectly to having a bunch of local tenants, a bunch of local retailers. So many of our internal tenants participated in our vendor market, and will continue to do so. So this Friday from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., we're going to have 27 local vendors, 5 food trucks, and we're going to have live music. And again, it's from 5 to 9 this Friday, and then the first Friday in August.
Before I ask this next question, I'm gonna knock on wood for you.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you host an outdoor event like that, weather's a factor. It's Nebraska, so it's either going to be 100 degrees or pouring down rain, nothing in between. If that's the case, how do you guys handle those situations when you're dealing with an outdoor market like that, and let's say it's a little precipitation in the air?
The only I'd say upside to having a large vacancy is that right now we have
You have
an
a large
option to go
vacancy.
inside.
Yeah.
Yep. So we have a backup plan if
Sure.
it's raining or thunderstorming, we are going to move that market inside.
When you have events like that and the turnout is large, and then the next year it's small and the turnout's large the year after, is it difficult to keep wanting to put those things on in maybe downturn years, or is it such an important part to the community to be able to have that it's just a necessity at this point?
It is such an important part of the community that we will have it. And I'll give you another example. Our Santa Claus event during COVID, we said, and because we have the event outside,
Mhm.
we do a tent in the parking lot right along Center Street. We found a way that we could comply with Omaha's requirement that year during the COVID shutdown and still be open and host our event. And we put a lot of effort and time into making sure we could still have that event. We were only one of, I think, 4 or 5 Santa Claus events that year that
Wow.
happened in Omaha. And I lost count of the number of people that came up to us and thanked us for keeping that on, some in tears.
That's incredible.
And
Because a lot of
so-
people, myself included, had their first child during the pandemic and missed out on the opportunity to have that very first Christmas with Santa Claus, take that picture, etc.
Yeah.
When we talk about growth and expansion for Bel Air Plaza, what does that look like? Because obviously you guys are pretty large space already, but what does growth and change look like over the next 2 to 3 years for Bel Air Plaza?
Yeah, growth is just being flexible in an ever changing market. Hopefully, we never have another pandemic, but
Sure.
I'm sure there will be some other thing on the horizon we have to navigate, and we will. I mentioned we had our best vacancy rate since 2010, beginning of this year, and of course, you blink, and within 3 months, we had 3 tenants give notice they weren't going to renew.
Sure.
So we are back into a lease up period very quickly,
Mhm.
and that's our big focus right now is to get some spaces filled.
What walk us through the process? If I'm a business owner, I'm looking for a new space. I come check out a couple of spaces at Bel Air Plaza. How do I get involved? How do I start looking at those spaces? How do I contact you guys at Bel Air to get involved in looking at it?
Yeah, so 2 ways. You can reach out to us directly at 402-333-3200. Hop on our website, shoot us an email, and you can get in touch with us internally. If you have outside representation, if you're a business owner that's already working with a commercial agent,
Mhm.
I'd point you to our outside brokers that we partner with over at Omni. That's Mr. John Dickerson
Okay.
and Eric Reichert. You can get in touch with them, and we start the process there. We like to meet all of our lease applicants face to face before we do anything, and then we obviously show the space, discuss individual business needs, and put together a deal from there.
I kind of pressed to think of what the answer would be if the answer is no. Is there a hard, we don't allow certain type of businesses to be represented at Bel? Think about like smoke shops or vape shops, things like that. Are those hard outs, or is it kind of like we're open to any kind of business as long as it fits our moral clause type situation?
Good question. So we are not taking smoke in vape shops right
Mhm.
now. And that was kind of a difficult decision to make because we would have a much higher occupancy rate if we did.
Sure.
Looking at our current tenant mix, and there's obviously been a lot of legalities back and
Yeah.
forth in the news. We decided, as a broad rule, not to take any of those businesses about 6 years ago.
Mm.
So we haven't had one before, and we declined to have those.
What is the biggest hurdle when you manage that large of a space from parking lot maintenance standpoints? It's a large space. It's
Sure.
a lot of room to cover.
Sure, and that's our number one complaint is, hey, the parking lot. It's our Nebraska winters.
Yeah.
You're
Does concrete getting cold and hot in like the same day cause problems?
It's amazing,
Weird.
isn't it?
Weird.
Yeah, asphalt and concrete don't play so well with our Nebraska winters, but that's beyond your control.
Sure.
You gotta deal with the weather as it comes and roll with the punches. But that makes or breaks us for the year on our budget is what is our winter going to look like.
You mentioned a minute ago commercial real estate agents, and I think everybody knows 11 of them at a minimum, right? What are some of those hurdles when there's an outside representation like that, and what are some of the benefits of working one-on-one with somebody that's looking to lease the space?
Yeah. So, and I am a commercial real estate agent.
There's
as
a
well.
reason I asked. Yeah.
So now you've met a 12.
So what's wrong with you people is what I'm asking.
And statistically, real estate agents in general are one of the least trusted job classes of people. Oh yeah, okay. The statistics on there said, and a lot of people have stories of working with real estate agents, and so I don't think it's unfounded. But as a business owner, most people have their niche world that they specialize in.
Sure.
And in commercial real estate especially, it is almost always assumed you're going to have an attorney on your behalf to review contracts, because a lease, in its most simplest form, is a contract.
Fair.
And it's not governed in the same ways as a residential lease is. So the sky's the limit. You can write in or do whatever you want to do in a commercial lease within the bounds of the law, of course. And I always advise business owners to engage with a commercial agent, an experienced commercial agent, and really understand all the clauses in that lease on at least a broad level, because when things are good, nobody gets their lease out and looks at it. But it's the point where things are bad where, well, hold on a minute, I didn't know. And I have seen many instances where a business owner signed a lease, got in a space, and had no clue what was in that lease.
And it's a way to protect yourself.
It is the biggest protection you have, is just knowing what's in the document before you sign.
And we're catching up with Mike Wasley of Bel Air Plaza here on the Spotlight Omaha podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing and Pyramid Contractors. I want to talk about the spaces themselves. I think everybody walks in and has an idea of what they want their vision to look like, right? Probably doesn't look a whole lot like the last tenant had it be. What do those conversations look and sound like when somebody walks in and they need a wall removed, a wall added, things like that? And how does that conversation go?
Sure. So our best deal is always an as-is lease, where you get it as is. Unfortunately, that's more and more rare, especially in our retail spaces. So it is a little bit older shopping center. The original developer bought the ground in the 50s and then started the plaza in the early 60s. So we've done some updates over the years. And again, since the pandemic, construction costs have gone up and up and up and up. So it is a hindrance. I'll give you an example. We are just finishing up the Cake Gallery construction project, and the technical side of that, the legalese with the city, dealing with all that stuff, created some massive hurdles. It took a lot of patience, a lot of time. We had to engage multiple design professionals to get that approved and get that done. But eventually we did. It's one more thing that we have to contend with.
Go ahead and give us the event at the end of the week again one more time. What time on Friday? When is it and how long does it go?
Yeah, this Friday we're having a vendor market from 5 to 9 p.m. at Bel Air Plaza. It'll be right in front of our new sandwich shop, The Daily. So it'll be just to the west of the prehistoric Putt parking lot.
Stop down and check it out. We covered a lot today. Is there anything about Bel Air Plaza that we haven't mentioned that people should know about?
We got space available. Come see us.
Give us the phone number one more time.
402-333-3200.
If you're looking for a space and you need commercial leasing available, check out Mike and his team. They'd be happy to walk you through what they have available and hopefully find your business its forever home. It is Bel Air Plaza. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. This has been the Spotlight Omaha podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing and Pyramid Contractors. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.